Say, are you ready now? Yes. They'll say things that you knock your head off. Mr. Chairman, there's an aspect of this invective that I call media political invectives. Sometimes I refer to call mediatized political invectives. One of the major challenges in our current media, especially radio broadcasting, is the use of invectives and incendiary discourse by some phone-in callers, referring to some politicians, journalists, and even the president or ex-president. Most concerned citizens feel that some radio hosts create situations that lead to the exchange of political insults. I have learned that there are some hosts of programs, even when the party A panelist has said something which is so disgusting and is an invective, and thank God the other person didn't hear, the host will say, and did you want it? When you do that, that's why we call an account what did you takra with him. So my appeal is that politicians are supposed to use Kasapa-Kasahuam, politeness language, and they should avoid being offensive to their addressee and even to us, those of us who are bystanders. These strategies will create a common ground of the public good between them and their political opponents. Media discourse is one of the major persuasive tools for socio-political and socio-cultural activities. If media practitioners appreciate the value of politeness, Kasapa-Kasahuam, and insist on its expressions in discourse, Ghana will enjoy her peace to the fullest. But what we read and hear from the media is not encouraging at all. Is this what the proliferation of media houses was meant for? Is this what we are reaping from the repeal of the criminal libel law? In fact, if the culture of silence was broken to be replaced with culture of insults and impunity, then we are in danger of losing a very valuable aspect of our cultural heritage. What lies for us is Kasapa-Kasahuam, that is politeness. Media discourse is very complex, sensitive, and fragile, that if we don't handle it well, it can easily spark off. It is dangerous to throw political discourse in our country into free-for-all denegations and insults. Let us remember what happens in Rwanda. The overall effect of the common practice of political invectives is that we are establishing a political tradition where insults have taken the place of polite language, and logical persuasion have become the order of the day. Politics and political insults have become even rewarding for some people. The political invectives lower the sense of objectivity among our politicians. Since most members of political divide do not see anything positive about their opponents, this is based on the ideological square of positive self-representation and negative other representation. This ideological square simply states that in political discourse, the people in part A will always present themselves as being positive. Everything about them is okay. If they do something small and it's positive, they will amplify it. If the other members do something and it's great, they will submerge it. So they want to appear always positive in the eyes of the electorate. And because of that, our politicians are not showing the level of objectivity that we are expecting. Mr. Chairman, most of the allusions and innuendos aspersions and allegations are very sarcastic, hyperbolic, malicious, maligning, mudslinging, and full of patent falsehood. Mr. Chairman, permit me to let us go back and remember whether some of us still can consider these expressions as having happened or uttered in our body politics. The first one is what I picked from the Ghanaian Chronicle, volume 7, number 58, Monday, February 8 to Tuesday, February 9, 1998. There's somebody who said, anybody who is in the opposition is a demon. Anybody in the opposition is a demon. This came from Rokoto, who was then chief of Aparade. I don't know whether he's still a chief. Then Daily Guide number 698, August 2nd, 2002, Friday edition. And somebody said, we are not Yokogari creditors. NPP tells NDC. Chronicle volume 2 number 8, Tuesday, August 13, 2002. This comes from Kofi Wayo. Rawlings' boom speech is crap and bullshit. But listen to this. This is from the Palava, December 10th to December 13th, 2002, page 3. And it's from a column written by the pen name Cassius Clay. I read, what they forget to remember, thanks to their inverted ways of reasoning, is that not all actors condone the stupidity of their descendants. This is Ghana here. Wait a minute. It continues. I hope the certificateless mulatto is reading such tales. It will certainly go a long way to increase his reasoning power. This caricature, looking like a wood carving, continues to hoist high the foolishness of the tradition he belongs, without regard to its ability to fragment. Don't go away, listen. He talks as if his anus has been blockaded with a log and an elephant is stepping on his balls. The end of the quote. As far as this is concerned, there's no saving. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you've also not forgotten about these two popular invectives. And the other one is Yesian law. Now Okrateni e chabe. The first one, Kokwasi Krasini, could be translated as the villager from Kokwasi, from the cocoa growing areas. And the other one is, at the time that we were studying law, he was tapping palm wine. Mr. Chairman, my candid view is that the common use of invectives in politics is a reflection of our immaturity in democracy. Even in ancient Greece, several hundred years before Christ was born, the practice of democracy was based on the use of logical argument rather than insults. Ancient Greek politicians, Demosthenes, Pericles, Cleisthenes, Alcibiades, Asechanes, and many others of their kind will demonstrate their disagreement with their opponents on issues and by argument and not by using insults. Most level-headed minds think that the speaker of an invective rather affects his own party negatively. And I want to emphasize, if you are insulting people from the other point or the other group, you may think that that will help you to win votes. But I don't think that is the issue. Some people have commented that because of the utterances of Mr. X from party A or party B, they will never vote for the party. Do politicians think that invectives can win votes? Do they think that people believe all the negative things they say about their opponents? Have they ever thought that their use of invectives can misfire, since floating votes out of sympathy, floating voters I mean, out of sympathy can vote for the person you are insulting? Mr. Vice Chancellor, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, before I take my seat, I present to you my brief conclusion and recommendations. Greetings, requests, thanking, apology, and avoidance of invectives are essential for politeness. They are critical traditional structures for maintaining and enhancing social cohesion and peaceful coexistence that are necessary for national development. They strengthen social bonds and reduce the conflicts and tensions in society. My recommendations are as follows. 1. Agents for the development of Ghanaian languages and culture should help restore our traditional Kasapa and Kasahuam, namely politeness. Number 2. Schools, churches, and FM stations are among the key sectors to propagate these important aspects of the Ghanaian social cultural life. I mean, Kasapa-Kasahuam. Ghanaians should try to inculcate the Kasapa and Kasahuam philosophy into our youth, especially through civic and moral education and researches like this. Number 4, practitioners of radio interactive programs should identify insulting party propagandists and stop inviting them onto their programs. Let our media please stop them and let our media discussions be development oriented rather than insults. Number 5, Ghana has a rich culture with linguistic routines like greetings, request, thanksgiving, apology, and taboo avoidance techniques. We must cherish our language and culture that is full of Kasapa and Kasahuam. All these are ingredients, Mr. Chairman, for perfect communication, which are necessary for national cohesion and peaceful coexistence. If we hold on to these values, we will live as brothers and sisters who have a common destiny. We will also have peace of mind and the motivation to govern, to serve, to work hard, to produce much for ourselves and for export. We will then leave behind a society in which subsequent generations will appreciate us and continue to uphold the traditions that foster national cohesion and peaceful coexistence. And by this, I'm referring to Kasapa-Kasahuam. Finally, Mr. Chairman, let us seek first the kingdom of Kasapa and Kasahuam. I mean, polite language, and it will lead us smoothly into our political campaigns, and we will most likely have peaceful, free, and fair elections in the December 2012 elections. Behold, goodness and mercies will be with us, and Ghana will be victorious with Kasapa and Kasahuam. Thank you very much.
With what I'll call a biblical injunction. Thank you very much. Before the Vice Chancellor proceeds with the closing remarks, we have a few presentations which will be done. The first presentation will come from the Faculty of Arts. Faculty of Arts, if the representative is here. We'll call Faculty of Arts to please come up to do your presentation. Let's encourage them. They are doing beautifully well. Also from Ekwafo Hall. We have our students who are resplendent in their chieftaincy regalia. Ekwafo Hall, Obahima, Ekwafo Hall. This is the only hall that has this tradition, and we are very proud of it. And this is the hall that Professor Ajekum belongs to. Very much. And now the final presentation to be made by the family, wife, children, and family of Professor Kofi Ajekum. Presenting can step forward to do that, all family members. That's Prof's beloved daughter, in whom he is well pleased. I think they have something they want to do. Now they have a very beautiful presentation. I don't know whether they
So Now we get there in Yaga and walk after. Yeah, we are waxing nothing. I am now looking to you. Yamen passing your cassia. Yapawan money.
Thank you.
Being treated to an excellent presentation showing various aspects of the works of Professor Kofi Agyekum. We've learned a number of things today. Even if we knew them before, their meaning in the social setting has been reset for us. We've learned about greeting rituals and even looked at the social cost of greetings. We've learned about how to make requests in a nice way, in a manner that ensures that we get what we're looking for. We've learned about forgiveness, and we've learned about invectives, and also how all of these may contribute to national harmony depending on how we use them. We've listened to Obienfo, as they say in the tree. I didn't know the term Obienfo till I went to Professor Boateng's funeral, and this was at the Eburi. And of course, you can imagine Eburi Bruni is brought home for burial, and there's a Presby minister with a large audience of professors. So he gets up, and Obienfo abaha. Obienfo abaha. Yeah, Professor de Wewuno. No, Obienfo mkesiye pa. Na ubin wa mbin here, no abin ashi. And every brother, no, one will be pa, or one being here, no, one being ash. So, what you mean? We a Kasapa-Kasahuam. There's a lot that we can learn from Ghanaian language. As I listened to Professor Agyekum, I sat there reflecting on many things that happen around us. I think about he talked about carpenters, so I think about a carpenter. I think about the carpenter that you invite to your home and you show a piece of work to be done and you agree on an amount to be paid and you pay the advance, as we call it, and then you say, then after you're taking the money, he says, so what does taking my money mean? So anyway, so tomorrow morning at 8, he doesn't show up. Then you find him 2 days later, and they say, now, being the economist, I think about how many of these things reflect in not get the social discourse, but the way we engage and enhance productivity and so many other things. I know it's a bit far-fetched to think about Kasapa-Kasahuam and economics, but it's possible. Oshami spoke about national harmony, the need for national harmony. If we all imbibed Kasapa, if we all used polite language, that's very important, and I fully support everything he said. I like the fact that it means we have to be nice to everybody. So if we are looking for social cohesion and improvement in our economy, what we need to do is be polite and nice, even to those who we don't like, and stand by it, pursue it in order to achieve it. I find that in many Ghanaian languages, firmness, where in Twi we say, or the Nancy form, we say, just imagine this guy talking about Twi, or the Nancy form. Now, in many Ghanaian languages, people see firmness often as negative. So you find in many situations, where being firm in a typical Ghanaian setting is being seen as not being generous, or being wicked, or being whatever that is not nice. Is there any way, in my humble contribution, disagreements do not have to end in anger? Disagreements do not have to lead to people not talking to one another. Invectives were reserved for politicians. I was pleasantly yes, one and the only way you might avoid them is to not look at the other side of the politeness, since it probably has been the subject of I do hope as we leave, having think about how this can be achieved together. Think about how we can do this, thinking only about our nation, Ghana, and how we're looking for. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Personalities here, we can't introduce all of them, but would like to acknowledge the presence of two of our former vice chancellors, and that is Professor George Bene, who is here, Professor Ivan Adai Mensah, permit me to add only two more, and that is two of our Professor Emeriti. We have Emeritus Professor J.H. Kwabna Inketia. We also have Professor Emeriti, Professor Jechi. And would also like to take this opportunity to thank all distinguished personalities who are here, too numerous to acknowledge one by one. Thank you all very much.
See